Oh my goodness. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day, and maybe to a few of you, good night. You are in Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. Every Wednesday night, we come to you with a leading lady, a featured guest speaker, and tonight is no exception. There never is an exception. I am Joy Ruffin. My work is as a leadership and style consultant, a signature style specialist, speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. No one enjoys their work as much as I do, except maybe this featured guest speaker that I'm bringing to you tonight. Tonight, my friends, we have a lady that I want you to just sit back, relax, and take it all in because the nuggets and the priceless gems that she's going to share with us are priceless. Karen Rudolf is a featured guest speaker that is a life coach, yet we label it a leadership consultant, a life strategist, and a catalyst for change. That's her MD. I lost my words. That's what she's about, and that's what she does. I have to tell you that I meet the most fascinating women because they all come here to share with you their story, their journey, and what they are about, and how they support, guide, and help us to be all that we're here to be. So, what I want you to do is just take it easy, relax, as we're going to do here, as we have a conversation and talk all about embrace the shift, harnessing the power within, stop and know that you are the change. That is so loaded. And there's so much that we're going to share with you tonight. So please sit back and welcome our featured guest speaker tonight. And I want you to bring her up, Karen Rudolph. Karen, hello and welcome. It's so good to see you.
Hello. Thank you. It's great being here. Thank you.
It's great to be here. I got tongue tied there because you know that I love your work and I seldom do get tongue tied. But the work that you're doing is speaks my DNA, it speaks my everything. And so I just want us to start because I like how you label yourself a life strategist, a catalyst for change. So let's talk about something that you gave me that's very prevalent now. You talk about unmasking conventional medicine to the journey of resilience and healing, because I know that you were a nurse, and once a nurse, always a nurse. But tell us how you came to that.
Well, I came to it because in my days of nursing back when I got
Yes.
burnt out in oncology and as an empath, I was taking it all home. And I remember coming from a background of relatedness where kids were to be seen, not heard. And then here I
Yes.
start my journey of nursing and adults are to be seen and not heard. And when I started questioning the doctors about discharging patients with medications, I noticed that they were really not getting to the root cause. And for me, on my journey of resilience, what we think about, we bring about. And if you're familiar with Dr. Emoto's work at all, he did the study of water. He's a Japanese scientist. So, and it's been proven that every thought you think affects every cell of your body. And
Yes.
our body is 78% water. And if it truly affects every cell of our body, every cell of our body is attached to every organ, and every organ is attached to ease or dis-ease. So that began my journey and my quest, and started my journey in the physical, went into the mental, emotional, and spiritual journey. So I've been doing this for quite a number of many years, and it all culminates to this point. So.
Yes, indeed. There's no question about that. And what you started off by saying, I have found that a lot of the beautiful souls that I engage with, Karen, that they are empathic and they have that ability to see, sense, feel what maybe is not being said. And so, and many of the nurses who were in your what well, you're not now, but you once you are, you always will be. But let me ask you this, because I know when you speak about the mental and the emotional and the spiritual aspects of it, and what this doctor said about every little thing emanates through your thoughts and what you say, and water is major, we all know that. I've always been a health enthusiast, so somehow that was a knowing. But when did you discover that you were empathic, that you had this sixth sense, so to speak?
I've always known I was intuitive. I just didn't label it as intuitive because I didn't know what intuitive
Ah,
was.
good point.
And as an empath, I actually thought there was something wrong with me because nobody talked about it. And I didn't know how to ask because I didn't know how to articulate it. All I knew is there was one day I was awoken at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I remember sick calling up the hospital and saying, I'll never forget the story because Mrs. King asked me for something. And back in the day, and I'm aging myself, there were no
Yes,
computers, so we were handwriting our charts.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
she had asked me to do her a favor, and she was a cancer patient. And I went home and I completely forgot about it. And when I called the hospital to ask them to go in and please, first off, give my, ask for forgiveness and tell
Right.
her I had forgotten, but, I felt badly. They had told me she passed. And in that moment, I realized be careful what you put out there, you know, and integrity is a whole nother level of beingness. And being an empath, I promised myself I would never, ever be in a position where I promised something I could not keep. And I've lived into that ever since.
I love that explanation. Let me tell you why, because what you said that's resonated all of it, but what really went to the marrow of my bones is that you said as a young girl what was shared with you and what you were told. I know that I'm empathic too, and I ran away from it as a young girl, and now I embrace it because I know the beauty and the truth of it. But it starts with the two words you ended up with: integrity. Those of us who are doing this, it has to you. We have to build and know that integrity is at the top of everything that we do and love what we do. And you mentioned forgiveness. Forgive ourselves for whatever, and then begin to forgive others. That is so powerful. And I love the way you express that. That leads me to the science of words, embracing the shift, because I'm a wordsmith in my fashion. It means nothing except I work to express myself because of all of my learning disabilities. But you share with us what you mean by embracing the shift when it comes to words and anything that surrounds it.
Well, through my spiritual journey that I had taken on in 2000, well, I had taken it on back in the 70s, but
Yes,
really took it on and fully embraced it back in 2009, right after my divorce. I, um, I really got the power. In the beginning was the word, right?
yes,
And coming from the value and the core value, one of my core values being integrity, right? I remember somebody saying to me, Karen, you're getting divorced, you have 3 children, like, what's your dream? And I looked at them and I was like, my what? And they were like, your dream. I had no relatedness to the word dream. So I looked it up. And to this day, any of my clients who sign a contract with me, it's actually an agreement. I don't like to call it a contract.
yes.
Sign an agreement to work with me. Um, one of the requests on there that they actually initial is they are going to have a dictionary because I will call you out on words because we talk without thinking often. I had an experience down in Costa Rica. I believe I shared it with you, and
Yes.
and everybody was like, "Oh, what an adventure!" Well, did you look up the word adventure? This was an adventure. Breaking my hips down in Costa Rica was an adventure. It's taking a risk. That wasn't my intention of going down there. So words are our wand. So the words that we speak in a line out there and wonder why we don't manifest more abundance or more more money or relationship or whatever have you, is really as a result of um, not really being present to what we're speaking into.
Oh my goodness, Karen, that is so powerful. We have so many people here who want to say hello and welcome, and we want you to all know that we embrace and welcome you here always. This woman's story, you're going to just sit back and take it in because it's so powerful. And thank you for sharing time and space with us. I'm going to bring each and one of you up in just a second or two. But Karen, you said something that's you are a wordsmith in a way, and you're using them in the right way. I'm still learning myself in the best way. I love what you said about it's more like an agreement. It's not a contract. A
That's
whole
not
different feel.
ex-
Words flow with the magic. You use that word, the wand. The
yes,
wand gives you, when you use it right and you know what it's about, it will give you the magic to know how to use and utilize your words. I love the way you said, because so many of us, myself included from time to time, we do use words without thinking. How do you support and aid and assist the people that you're working with in this agreement that they have with you to know and think more about using the right word for the right situation?
Well, I don't want to say there is a right quote unquote word, right? It's got to, you feel into it.
Feeling.
It's a feeling, it's an
Yes.
intuitiveness. So I
Yes.
teach them to embodiment of words. So when you're taking on something, as I said, words become your wand, words become your reality. What you think about, you bring about. So what is the intention? So I always start with intention. And everything has its energy. So it's frequency and vibration of what the intention is. And then we create alignment with that to manifest that what you want. So we work all of that into it. I'm a big advocate of journaling, and it's not the kind of journaling with my clients that I'll say it's not like, oh, I went to, the store grocery shopping with my girlfriend. It's more reflective work. So this way you're creating new neural pathways in your brain because your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction. So what I do is I create whole brain thinking along with my clients. So they
Yes.
start thinking in terms of what they want to bring into their reality. And it's not your normal run of the mill um, kind of. I don't like to call myself per se a life coach because it's so much deeper than that. It's energy work. It's really embodiment, empowerment, and it takes something. It really takes something to want to be willing to go there. It's not always the most comfortable, but when you get to the other side, like anything else, it's so freeing and so empowering. I have a client I'm working with right now that stepped into a leadership role that he is. I work with women. But this particular gentleman showed up, and I'm not going to toss him. And he is one of the most powerful people I've ever worked with. And I just absolutely adore working with him because he has such a desire that he's been shifting his embodiment into being a warrior champion is what the words he used. And he's embracing it fully, and his whole life is turned around. And one of the
Wow.
things he wanted to do was leave a legacy for his kids. No coincidence. Right?
One of my favorite words, because almost everything that I do, Karen, it has the word legacy involved in it. But I love what you said about being a coach, because some time ago I segued from a coach to a consultant. I see that you are not, you label yourself, and I love it that you did. I noted this, a life strategist, because that's what you're helping and supporting people to do, to structure in the right way that fits and feels right for them. So I get that. Before we take a quick reset, and here's a good time to do it, Karen. Share with us as briefly as you can about the incident that happened to you on that fabulous trip that you were on in Costa Rica, and how that segued you to more of an in-depth knowing about what you're doing now, a deeper compassion about the
It's
word.
it's a
Share that.
yeah, definitely a deeper way of
Yes.
beingness. It's beingness. It's a becoming. And before I went to Costa Rica, I decided I didn't know anybody who was going, and I just wanted to go and experience Costa Rica
Yes.
differently. And I figured I'm going to expand myself and stretch myself. So I signed up for a retreat down in Costa Rica back in this past January. And one of my very favorite things is I do a lot of stress relief and trauma relief alongside horses here in Sarasota.
Mm-hmm.
And I figure one of my favorite things to do is ride along the beach. And what a beautiful, perfect place to be riding a horse on the beach is in Costa Rica.
Horse,
It's
horseback.
breathtaking. The horse had sore feet. And when I told the guy that he had sore feet, he was like, oh, yeah, and he blew it off. The horse kept avoiding the salt water because salt on an open wound is painful.
Yes.
And when we caught up with the rest of the group, the horse's attention was with the group because they're pack animals. And as soon as the salt water hit his back feet, he spun around and surprised to see what had hit his back feet. And
Ooh.
what I went 6 feet up in the air and landed on my butt, fractured my femur, fractured my right pelvis, and dislocated two of my vertebrae, and ended up 2-hour journey to a hospital along the bumpy roads, and just praying the whole time, okay, please God, I can't move my feet. I don't know if I'm ever going to move them again. And I just had to trust. And we got to the hospital, and of course I had major surgery down there. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know the language. So I had a choice. I could embrace it and make the most of it. And everybody would say to me, like, oh my God, I feel so sorry. And how are you doing it? And oh my God, how horrible. And you don't speak Spanish. It wasn't horrible. I chose not to make it horrible. So I made a game out of it after my surgery. Thank God for apps. I'd be on my phone, como se dice, you know? And it became more of a game. So I got related, right? What do
Yes.
humans want more than anything else is relatedness. Without relatedness, nothing works. So I got
Oh,
related to the people down there. My surgeon was phenomenal. I actually lost one of my horses when I was down there, and I got a phone call from where I board them here in Sarasota. And she said to me, Karen, Apache went down. He was 38 years old. He went down. He can't move his feet, quote unquote, can't move his feet, and he needs to be put down. And all I remember was holding the phone and looking at my feet that weren't moving. And you go up in your head space, which is a dangerous place to be. And I'm sitting there looking at my feet, going, "Are they going to put me down?"
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was fun.
Karen, I'm so glad you shared that with us for a lot of reasons. But when you started off and what you shared with us, and we're not going to hop on this, but this is major for everyone to tune into. You said how you said to the guy that the horse has sore feet and he blew it off, blew it away. This is what happens with many people who are not really in sync, no judgment, no blame with themselves, and don't listen and make excuses. And because of that, but then that was a karmic lesson, if you believe in karma, and there are a lot of people, that we all had to learn. And the way you dealt with that, so powerful.
Yeah.
We're going to put you in the green room for just a split second. And when we come back, I want to talk about with you more about the experience and how you navigated through this situation and how you are really and truly now a catalyst for change, and talk about how that can be for others and some of the things that we can offer them. So hold tight. What a story. My friends, you don't have to do anything, but my prayer is that you will take that story to heart, because the way that she expressed what happened to her, which was devastating, and how she rose to the occasion and did everything that she could to surmount all the difficulties that she was encountered with. This is a woman who really is all about change and addressing it in the best way. What I want you to be thinking about always is joining me on Mondays. Now I'm doing what's called Joyful Mondays. It's every Monday at 3 p.m. And we talk about all kinds of different topics. And we're always, always about leadership in everything that I do. And that's why this beautiful lady here today is all about leadership too. She's working as a leadership consultant, as I am. It's a different style and different rhythm and flow, but it's still leadership, and it's heart and soul connected. And we talk about any and everything that has to do with leadership, and you and me and us all coming together. And in conjunction with that, because what Karen shared with us before we took this little reset, I'm promoting for you now something that's called, go and join my Facebook group, Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. If you're not a member there, you belong there. Without question, go. Take a screenshot, take a snapshot, and go there and make sure that you belong. But this is what I want to tell you about human design. You know that you are a beautiful puzzle. You really are. And all of this information, take a screenshot and a snapshot. This is my freebie, my gift to you, because what Karen is talking about, what I'm talking about, we do it in different ways, different styles, different rhythm and flow, but the seed is still the same. We're here to blossom and to grow into the best of ourselves so that we can share our wisdom and knowledge with others. What I have discovered, myself included in the beginning and still on the journey, we don't know enough about ourselves. We need to really know who we are. So that said, make sure you go here and take the screenshot, snapshot, and see what this is all about. And then Karen in the end is going to put up a poster that's going to offer for you a complimentary booklet. And we'll talk about this a wee bit later, but I want you to take a screenshot and a snapshot now. And then when we come back towards the end, I can't believe how time flies here. She's going to share with you a lot more information about this, because it's all about embracing the shift. And that's it. So back to my beautiful featured guest speaker, Karen. I have to tell you, I love the title, Embrace the Shift, because the shift, the change, the transition, all of these words are important. I got that. I received that. But it's all about being able to be open to receive what comes to you and then navigating it in the best way, which your description of how you did your recovery. And tell us about where you stand and how you're doing now.
Oh, thank you. I'm 8 months into it, and I have a titanium rod in my left leg and 3 screws. So I can't say it's the most pleasant of journeys. But it's
No.
been a real lesson for me because it was all about the whole journey was about surrendering, learning to surrendering and stand in faith. And as a result of that, I was followed by my publisher who asked me to do Ignite Your Faith collaborative book. And I was like, I got that one down pat. So
Woo-hoo.
you never know the power of a story and where it's going to take you. As I said, it's a healing journey, and I'm just trusting and embracing. And one of the things that I've done for myself in the healing, we were talking about words having power, and I
Yes.
journal every day. Whatever I ask of my clients, I do myself, and if I don't know it, we'll go and find it out together. But one of the things I do is I journal morning and night because I'm also looking to shift my um, adding new neurons and expanding myself as well. And one of the things that I do is my body is healing itself every day in every way. And I write that down and I said, I'm compelling, I'm imploring, and I'm commanding my body to get back to its natural state of beingness and right now. So I just, what happens is you are opening up the channels of your brain to start really believing that it's happening. So I'm actually 8 months into it now. Probably 6 months into it, I stopped walking with a cane, and I baffled the physicians and everybody else because they're like, "You shouldn't be where you are right now," and I'm like, "Shouldn't I? Who says? Who is? Where is it written that it has to look a specific way?" So when
You
you
know,
surrender
your
and you
story
embrace,
is so encouraging to be open and make the best of every situation. And how you explain to us about the mind, body, and spirit, I'm in that camp too, except I always put, as you did in a different way, heart and soul connected together and
yeah,
allow it to connect with the mind, body, and the spirit. Because
yeah,
once you do that, however you do it, you will have your answers. And you mentioned about faith and belief. And all of us have different channels that we are in. But
mhm,
the the true seed is knowing what works for you and that you have a lot to do with how you're thinking up here and how you're connecting your heart and soul. So
it's always.
absolutely. And one of the things, do you find that the people that you connect with and that you work with, that's a difficult lesson to convey to them, or that's what is the most difficult part of the support that you're offering to the people that you engage with? I mean, I know it's different for each and every one, but
Yeah.
what are some of the seeds that or keys that will help others to think, well, maybe I could use or I need this too?
All right. Well, for me, it all gets down to thine own self be true.
Yes.
You touched on it. I really expand that because when you know yourself, you know others. And the more you know yourself, the more you get to choose to shift it or not, and not is still a choice. So again, in that space, as the biggest saboteurs are ourselves, and
Yes.
until we choose to embrace it, it's like, how badly are you committed to getting the results you want? And nothing's going to change until you choose to change it. And it's not always, just like my experience in Costa Rica, it's not always a pleasant experience, but there's always a silver lining. What is the lesson from it? What is your journey going to tell you? You don't need to break your hips to get a lesson. We're always, everything is experience. And what
Yes.
we build with those experiences, knowledge is just knowledge until you apply it. And that's where the embodiment work comes in, because you can hire me, then I don't want you to walk away saying, oh, I didn't get anything out of it. Well, you've got to do the work. So I've never had anybody say that. So, no,
Yes.
because it's a gentle and kind um, way of shifting perception. I like to say I engineer human perception for a living, and I love what I do. Because when you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change. So you have a choice. I always give you choice, but I always give you two sides of the story. And I'll never, ever tell anybody what to do. I will be there to hold your hand, lift you up, be the wind beneath your wings, and open the curtains and let that fresh air in.
Wow. I love that. And I love the way you started with us when I posed that question to you, because here's what I know with certainty and conviction is that we, all of us who are in any type of leadership capacity, the first, whether you're empathic or not, it really is good if you are, but I can't say it's irrelevant, but it's about know thyself. Because, and I also like the way you ended. You give people choices and they have to be open to the journey. Because one of the things I've learned, and I myself was in this camp, so I'm not saying anything that's negative. We have to really know ourselves and be honest with ourselves. And that means that you're willing to do the work, what has to be done.
Absolutely. And just
And
as a little, oh, I'm
yes,
sorry.
go.
Just as a little caveat to that, because I
Yes.
come from a world of well-being, we have the power to de-stress ourselves with this work. And because, remember from the beginning, if you go back to what we had said earlier, every
Yes.
thought, affects everybody and every part of your body. You have the ability to get rid of the stress and the dis-ease. Now, I'll give you tools to do that, but you still have to do the work. Stress is the number one killer. Choose.
Karen, thank you for that, because here's what I know with certainty. And my certainty doesn't mean that it has to be everybody else's certainty. I'm wise enough to know that now. But the reality is we do have to do the work. And the work means that we have to be honest with ourselves. And that means getting to know really who we are. And the mind can trigger so many things. And that thing that you mentioned about disease and stress, until you really open up to all the options and possibilities that are available to you, it's not going to happen. But it can if you're open and if you want to grow.
Exactly.
I know that you have a great complimentary gift that you're offering to the people who are going to be tuning in here. So I'm going to ask Kirill to put up that poster and let you speak to about what you do and how you offer. You already spoke to it, but a little bit more as we close out here about what you can offer to those who are interested in taking the next step. Maybe a leap, maybe a jump, but they know that it's time to do that. So here we go. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first off, Embrace the Shift is all about the power of words. So I'm giving you pretty much a step by step in this ebook. If you'd like to work with me and really expand upon that, certainly reach out. You can connect with me on my website at www.tranquilsolution.com. When you're willing to want to make a change, possibility is endless, because what we look at is really get to know yourself, but not only get to know yourself, but get to know your patterns. When you, it's like a, what do they call that? A iceberg. There's only
Mm-hmm.
5% of the iceberg that's showing, but the
Mm-hmm.
95% below is really running the show. So I'm your journey guide. I will be your journey guide to support you in a very gentle way. I go alongside of you. As I said, I'm the wind beneath your wings to be there and make it as easy as possible. So,
I love that, because here's the reality for all of us, for you and for me. I speak for me, but I know that not knowing that it's for you too. No matter how far advanced we get and how much wisdom and knowledge and learning and life experiences we have, we still need our guides, our gurus, our consultants, and our messengers and wayshores to help us and support us as we move forward. And that's what you're offering all of us. I like it when you say patterns in the iceberg, because it's so true. Because what's underneath, until it surfaces so that you can manage it, that
very necessary.
emotional healing can cause a
Yeah.
lot of issues. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your time. We bypassed the storm there. I love it. I love it. You never know what's going to happen here. Karen, we're going to put you in the green room, but thank you so much. You gave us a lot of good information, and I'm grateful to
Thank
share
you.
it with the audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, the time flies. Don't I say this every week? Of course I do, because it does. I'd like to spend more time. It's just not feasible at the moment. So you be well and take care of you first, as Karen has stated. Look after you so that you can look after all the others who need your wisdom, your knowing, and your love. Remember, love is a universal power, the universal power. Music might be the universal language, but love is a universal power. That said, be and stay well. I'm sending you, as I always do, much, much love from my heart to your heart. All the best. Cheers.